Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. This is Nina here, and I am coming back from a little vacay week. I took off half the week last week and went out to Montauk, New York, which is at the very end of Long Island where I live. So I got to spend some time relaxing and thinking of goals and all the fun stuff that I like to do when I'm not working. If you missed the last episode we had, episode 98 was all about podcasts, how to be a podcast guest and how to be a good one at that. So that I put in a lot of places where you can find podcasts to be on, how to inquire with podcast hosts about being a guest, and how to be a good guest once you're there. So you're going to want to check that out on episode 98. Today, I'm in a really good mood. I just got off of a really fun strategy call. If you didn't know about my strategy calls, these are personal 90-minute calls you can book with me. I'll record them and we go over the specifics of a marketing strategy for your business. I tell you everything I would do to streamline your business, get you leads, and get you going on social media, as well as what else I would do digitally and online. I am also excited this week because the episode today, you're going to learn the love story of Nina and Debra. Debra Maingi is our guest today. She is the head planner on Unveiled by Debra, and she's going to talk to us about the power of social media ads and how she used doing ads herself to get leads for her wedding planning business. Now, a lot of the time for this podcast, I'm talking to people who aren't able to outsource their ad spend and their ad strategy to a large Facebook ads and marketing group, right? That's why I give you the social media tips I give you, because I know you're not able or maybe aren't ready to invest in it yet. And Debra really comes in and shows us how we can get in charge of starting to familiarize ourselves with ads and how we can get leads from them. You're also going to learn the fun story of how Debra and I met. So let's take it away and get to the interview. Debra, we are back together again after meeting at Wedding MBA.
Yes,
Tell everybody you're coming from vacation today.
I am. I'm coming from vacation from the great state of Florida today.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yep. I'm here celebrating one of my best friend's bridal weekends, and so
Oh, so
I'm
we're
really excited.
totally on theme.
Yes, we are. We actually are. I'm getting ready to. I put together her bridal shower for the weekend, and so I'm really excited about that. So yes, we're very much on brand.
So did they all come to you, or like were they just surrender it to you, or they're like, Debra, you're gonna plan this?
No, Lauren, whose bridal shower I'm planning, has kind of been in my life since like 2017, I believe. And she was going to do like a very small wedding, didn't even want a bridal shower. And the planner and me was like, what the ham sandwich are we even talking about? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, you want to get all the experience. And as a planner, a lot of times when I meet with brides, those are the things that they want to hear, right? Like, because they're on the cusp of trying to decide, am I going to do a bridal shower? Am I going to do a bachelorette weekend? I'm just so focused on just a wedding. And I think that's where she was at that point. And I was like, you just focus on the wedding. Let me focus on the bridal shower. And I think that really helped with almost building her own excitement, right? To really get her mom involved and I involved and really giving her the will to just focus on what the wedding was going to be like.
I love that because I think that's what every bride or groom in their core really wants is someone to be excited,
Mm-hmm.
and someone else other than just them to be
Yes.
excited about the event.
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
leads perfectly to what my first question is what is your wedding planner or wedding industry origin story? How did you get here?
That's a great question. So I've been in the finance industry for 10 years. Prior to joining the finance industry, I loved planning events. So in high school, I was the person who had all the sleepovers, all the dinner parties at my house. I literally was like a Real Housewives in the making at like the age of like 16. Okay.
I
And
love
so
that term.
so
We should
I was
make
having girlfriends
t-shirts
over.
for little girls.
Yes. Like it just was like my parents were like kind of strict. And so I was like, how do I bring the fun to me? So I would do dinner parties and stuff at my house. And then it kind of went from that to planning, proms and homecomings. Because if I plan it, my parents have to let me go. Right. And so I kind of dived into that. And then I got into charity, planning for charities and doing fashion shows in college and bigger events. And then when I joined the finance industry, there were parts of me that still felt very connected with my event planning piece, but I felt like I had to focus on building an adult career, right? And so the last 10 years I've been doing that. And last in 2021, I just felt a void, right? Like I'm doing everything I love, I'm getting everything I can from my finance career, but I really was struggling to feel connected and feeling fulfilled. And weddings and event planning just have always given me that. I'm the person that whenever I couldn't sleep at night, I would look through like wedding books, I would look through wedding websites, I would look through bridal gowns, just because that's something I just always kind of loved. And so in 2021, I was just having a natural conversation with my friend Winnie. And I told her, because I was planning my sister's wedding at the time, I was like, I'm actually really good at this thing. And Winnie, and I can remember where I was sitting on my couch, and Winnie was like, no, you're a natural. And we're talking about some of the conversations I was having with vendors while I was planning my sister's wedding, the kind of negotiations, putting design together and Pinterest ideas and creating mood boards. And she was like, I think you could do something with that. And that's how Unveiled by Debra was born. It was born out of planning my sister's wedding. And after that, I just decided that I wasn't going to sit in the passenger seat of my own life, that I was actually going to become an active participant in my dreams. And I took what I wanted and hoped I could do and just started doing it, and taking care of. And so that's how Unveiled by Debra was born in 2022.
I am just smiling ear to ear with this because it's such a great story. And the shocking part is knowing Deborah and her brand. I would never guess it was as recent as 2021 because it seemed like you were so aligned with your path and you hit the ground running. And what I see is just the polished, professional
Yeah.
wedding planning company. I
Yeah.
would, it just so wonderful. And that really, I think, adds to how you can speak on this because you were able to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And you mentioned for our topic today, social media ads being a part of it. So, for those listening, is there anything they need in place before they start to use social media ads as a lead source, revenue source, etc.?
Yeah, you know what? One of my biggest things, and that I believe in, not just in this industry but in life, is you have to plan things, right? One of my favorite quotes is, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." And so when you're getting into this industry and you're thinking about using social media ads, plan it out. You're not going to get it right the first time because it is going to feel uncomfortable. And just to share how uncomfortable it is, I brought the numbers from my first ad,
Oh,
because
great.
I definitely wanted people to know that a lot of this stuff is not, going to come organic when you first start off. But what you do is you look at the path of where you came from and where you are, right? And then where you're headed to. So my first ad I posted in July of 2022, and it was just a introduction of myself, like, hey, this is who I am. I'm jumping into this thing. I'm getting started. I'm Unveiled by Debra. I got 76 likes, 10 comments, and 2 saves. I think those 2 saves are for my sister. I love her so much. Um, from that piece, my content interactions, those were my content interactions from there. I had only 37 profile visits at that point in time.
Mhm.
I spent $15 on this. And from that $15, it was 41 cents per profile visit, right? And if you, when I look back and I'm like, I just wanted people to come on my site. That was my only goal. That's it. It was a pretty picture of me and this first logo that I had paid somebody probably like $20 to
Mhm.
create for me. And I look back and I'm like, I was bugging. Like but I was just starting out and I wanted to get my name out there. From that one ad, I had two people reach out to me about my business and planning, and we talked, and it resulted in zero new clientele.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So luckily it was just a $15 zero return.
Right. I'm like, you can't lose out. But after that, I took those numbers and I started to create action plans for whenever I would do social media ads. I would decide who's my audience? What am I going to get into with them? What am I going to share? Why am I boosting this ad? Right.
Mhm.
Is there a purpose? I would then decide how much I was willing to spend. My sister always says sometimes in life things are addition by subtraction. So I knew that because I made no money from that other ad, right, that I was literally going to have to figure out if spending another $15 was going to be worth it. My second ad that I put up was from my first wedding that I did in August
Oh,
of
great.
2020. Let me tell you those numbers.
So we went from an introductory post and now we're doing more of like a visual post.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. To show you and highlight my work, right? I want you
Great.
to show that I want you to see that I actually do the
Hmm.
planning, right? Like, and what a result of my work with you will look like. I reached 1,200 people with this
Wow,
one.
so that's a jump.
That was absolutely a jump. From that, although my content interactions went down, my profile visits went up.
Hmm.
Okay. And from that piece, I spent $20. I spent an additional $5
Hmm.
from my previous post. From that one ad, I booked one client for 2023. And so that's when I knew, wait a minute,
Hmm.
I'm onto something here, right? And so I took it out of it just advertising in Instagram and started also utilizing Facebook. And so now I knew I had to create a Facebook page for my business because two things are better than one at this point. And that is just kind of how that plan has kind of developed into with my business and social media ads.
I love that because it shows how, especially in a high ticket industry like we are, wedding planning services, I mean, on the lowest end, I'm going to say, and this is just a random number depending on regions, lowest end 2000,
Yeah.
for a day of coordination or something. I
Yeah.
typically, hopefully, much more. But when you spend $20 and you book at minimum a $2,000 client, I'm comfortable with
I'm
that.
comfortable. Yes.
And would you say, so you tried the introductory post, then you tried this post, which showed the actual work. Would you recommend somebody promote themselves over promoting their work?
I think authentically promoting yourself is essential. Wedding planning is a niche,
Mhm.
whether we all want to admit it or not, right? I, People work with people off of relationship building. So you want to see what I'm like, and so yes, boost the ads about myself, but also boosting the ads about my work are essential, right? If I'm going to, like for instance, booking season is coming up. My focus for booking season is going to be advertising things that are from my work, events that I've done, my weddings, right? I offer three packages, main packages as a multicultural planner. And I want to be able to highlight that in my ads. And so it's essential that my work reflects what I typically do with my work.
Great. So are you able to pull any examples of, let's say someone's listening, whether they're, we can go through the broader scope. We have planners who listen. We have photo booth companies who listen. We have a broad spectrum. So would you recommend they boost an existing post that they already have on their feed, or look through what they have and try to create a specific ad to start promoting in the meta ads campaign manager.
Yeah, I think your first ad that you do when you start doing it, look through your posts that you already have, look at the interactions and see which one captured the most people's attentions, right? Because now you already know you have an audience base. And
Mhm.
so you know for some reason that ad or that post captured attention. So you take that ad and you edit it, you boost it, you add some hashtags, you create a call to action on it, and then you boost it, because at this point you already have the baseline, right? You already know it worked one time, and when you find something that's already working, why would you change it, right? Utilize it to work for you.
That's great because that's similar to what I do with clients when they do want to add an ad strategy is we test the waters. We'll do
Mhm,
4 different ads and then review what performed, what didn't, why. And here Deborah's saying you already have the content. Go
mhm,
into your feed and review those analytics. So this way, because when I'm at the stage where they're involving me, there's more of a budget. There's
yeah.
more of that freedom to experiment with the ad dollars. And when you're not there yet and you're not ready to outsource to an ad agency or something like that, use the data you already have, which is great. So I love that. I think
Can
that's,
I
mhm.
can I share something, Nina?
Yeah.
You actually taught me this whenever I was in when we met in Wedding
Yeah.
MBA, and one of the things was when I went to Wedding MBA, I was still pretty new, about a year into actually doing something. But and I saw pictures of you at Wedding MBA, right? Something that I was like, oh, I follow her on Instagram, and I just reached out. But we had a conversation where you just looked at my Instagram just to tell me if the aesthetic made sense for what I do, right? And you and I took the notes you gave me. You gave me some great insight. Go in, review your own insights. Those are things I got from you. And when I got home, those are the things that I practiced, right? Because when we have those conversations with people, our goal is to learn and to grow, right? Not
Mhm.
just ourselves, but our businesses. These are our brands. So if I'm looking at growing, you have to be able to talk to the specialists, the people who actually focus in those things, right? And those conversations can make a big difference for you.
I love it. And that was such a great time. So Deborah saw in one of my posts that she was there and that I was there. So she
Mhm.
messaged me saying, want to meet for coffee. She said the magic word.
Yeah,
It's like, yes,
right.
we hit it off so well. Someone was like, I hope you ladies are going to meet for drinks after
Yeah,
because
it was.
you were hitting it off. It was so great. And Deborah took out her notebook and I appreciated her reaching out so much. I was like, let's just go into it. I'll
Yeah.
answer any of your questions. And so you may not be at Wedding MBA, but if you notice an authority you follow is doing an Instagram live, or maybe they're on Facebook live, they have a Facebook group, get in there, ask the questions, and take advantage of the free resources being given. And
Yeah.
then over time, maybe you're able to invest when they have something more one-on-one, but taking advantage of those opportunities will be great. Because I remember Deborah was promoting, you were doing an event,
I was.
and that was like the big focus, like, all right, we're
Mhm.
gonna we're gonna get this. It was a holiday event, I
It
think,
was. Mhm, it
right?
was.
And how did you end up doing paid ads for that event?
I did. I did paid ads for that event, both on Eventbrite and on Instagram and Facebook, and just utilizing the things you told me. You were like, "Hey, Deborah, film a cute little skit." I can even show you the video of me throwing up like my ornaments as a way
Yeah,
to
the
capture
ornament
attention. Right?
transition, yes, because
Yes.
that's so big in the holidays.
Yes. And so literally that interaction is how the ornament transact. That's how that was born, was from Wedding NBA. And shout out to my sister Melissa, who filmed that content and was over me and my, no, I need to get a couple of more ornaments.
Oh.
And because when you're starting out, somebody's insight is essential to growth, right? And if I can get all of your nuggets, right, make them my own, right, and use the ideas, use the concepts, and then turn it into who I am, then it really can promote my brand as a whole.
That's great. And I love the story because it really is kind of making me emotional of remembering those days where I think any business owner can relate. You're just starting out and it's you and either your sibling, your
Yeah.
husband, your best friend. There's somebody who you're turning to. You
Yeah.
be like, help, you know?
Wow. It's so true.
So we went into the analytics of, what makes a good ad, but let me kind of call out specifically, should people be looking for seeing how many in their analytics, how many website clicks a post got, or, they don't want to just be looking at likes, let's say. What do
That's
you think
correct.
is a relevant analytic for them to review before deciding to boost a post?
I think that's a very detailed question, Nina. I think the most important thing, right? Whenever we think about, because on our Instagrams, when you're looking to through your insights, it's going to give you the options of what you're going to do in terms of why you're creating this boost, right? Are you looking to get more clicks to your website? Are you looking to get more messages? Are
Hmm.
you looking to get more profile visits? So then, when I'm looking through at those three things that Instagram is interested in, right? I consider the post I'm about to put up. What happened in my insights on this post that I need to really lean on.
Hmm.
One of the things that I'm working on right now is a an ad that I'm going to put for booking season up.
Great.
And so really wanting to look into creating not only a new post, I'm looking at the other posts that I've created in the last 3 months that did really well. And I'm taking notes on what made them do really well, right? Did people come to my profile? Did they send me messages? Did they go to my website? My biggest thing right now that I'm working on is driving traction to my website, right? My website's going to it's going to reveal to you all my packages, what I do, who I am, right? Probably in a quicker synopsis than my Instagram is, because a lot of times it's just a quick turnaround on my thing. So for me, getting people to my website is an essential piece for my new post. And so I'm literally detailing out how I should create this new ad. So I encourage that you figure out what your end goal is and you kind of work backwards from there.
That's great, especially if you're promoting, let's say, an event. If you're trying to get people
Yes.
to buy tickets, you're going to want them to go into that page to where they can buy tickets because they always say users you can't assume they're going to click more than
Yes,
once.
absolutely. It's a few seconds. You have a few minutes to capture
Mhm.
the attention of somebody. I was actually looking at one of my booths that I did for an open house I did for a venue in the Raleigh area. And I boosted a post that I put in for that. And that was one of my posts that got a lot of traction, right? That collaboration between me and that venue, because now there's two different audience spaces that are going to look at it, my audience base and people who are on that venue's website or profile. So I'm utilizing that collaboration piece from Instagram to really
I
be what
love the
drives the force in the
collaboration.
audience into my profile.
That's fantastic. I love that. And what Deborah's talking about is you can now invite someone to be a collaborator on a post and you're getting double traction.
Yeah.
And it's for free. Like, so if you're doing an event at a venue where they're a collaborator with it, like a bridal showcase, if you're
Hmm.
promoting, you're going to be at that showcase, invite that venue to be in it too, and pull that extra audience. That's what I'm going to be doing with this podcast episode. I'm going to
Yes.
invite Unveiled by Deborah as a collaborator.
Absolutely. And we're going to work smart, not
Yes.
too hard.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yep. So let's say someone's going to boost an ad. And I think, like, I'm already like, I think that's what the focus is when I'm going to promote this episode. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about the boost,
Yeah.
like, this is all
Yeah.
about the boost. So, how do they come to a cost? You shared some of your costs that you did in the beginning, which was really helpful. So, what should
Mhm.
somebody else consider when they're making that decision of how much they want to invest in a boosted post?
That's a great question. I always focus on, am I leaning on getting a lot of eyes on this? right? Because the way the ad works is the more you pay, the bigger the audience base you get, right?
Mhm.
And so if I'm looking to up my followers, if I'm looking to get more messages, get more eyes on this because I'm in the middle of booking season and I want to build my 2024 calendar, I am going to want to one see what Instagram, Facebook, Eventbrite is recommending for me for the finances I use for it. Sometimes Instagram will say, if you want 1,600 people to see this, spend $10 a day, right? And then I sit back and I look through my financials. That might just be the finance expert in me, and I'm like, $10 a day for this many days. Does that make financial sense, right? How many weddings do I want to book in order to one, recoup myself, right? When we're thinking I'm going to put this up for 6 days, I'm spending $10 a day. That's a total of $60. Is that going to break the bank? No.
Mhm.
Is that going to bring someone to the table that's going to be a client for my booking season? Yes, I am okay with that. So you can do two things. You can use the recommended amount that Instagram offers you, or you can look at your last ad, see what you used, see what your interactions brought, and how it ended, where your numbers were when you ended. And then you can either do that same amount or double it. The more the eyes,
Great,
the
yeah.
better. Mhm.
And we're playing with a really high return on investment here with, we use that
Yes.
number of 2000, let's say, as a minimum package price point. So how much are you comfortable spending to get that return? I'm not necessarily saying put $1,000 in because I don't think you need that.
No.
What you're telling us is really, I think you can make an investment of, let's say, $70 and receive a significant return on that.
Absolutely. One law of averages. I come from a sales background, so I get that. Law of averages says that I'm going to naturally get no's.
Mhm.
And as a planner, I'm so great with the no's. I'm okay with that, right? It gives me a starting point because I know, wait, maybe I need to change my conversation style. Maybe I need to change how I'm introducing my packages, right? But those no's, I can't sit there because ultimately that $70 that I invested is also going to lead me to some yeses. And so even if I bring in six people who want to have a conversation, law of averages tells me that absolutely four people will tell me no. Two people will give me either a yes or a maybe. And that yes is what I'm pushing for. And in the grand scheme of things, if my starting package starts at $2,500, a $70 ad does not hurt me. It's actually a benefit.
That's great. And I do want to say, because we're talking about the law of averages, the audience we're working with, or a lot of my audience, is a one person show. They're only doing a limited amount of weddings, so that brings the ad investment down because
Yeah.
you're looking for a different booking rate. So for many of my venues who are able to book 3 events a day, that
Yeah.
changes the investment, the law of averages, etc. So I want to
Yes,
put
that
that
does.
out there that.
That's a very good point, right? Because I'm speaking from a wedding planner perspective, and I only do 15 to 20 weddings a year. I have decided that that is my max because I want to give my couples my undivided attention and accessibility to me. And for me, I can't do that if I'm doing 30, 40 weddings, right? Up until 3 months ago, I was a one woman show as well. And so being able to make the decisions that benefited my business were essential, right? Like, can I naturally pick up more weddings? No. So should I keep the wedding brands that I already have, work through here, get more, work with my photographers to get great pictures, do style shoots, build my clientele, right? And when I do those style shoots, using those pictures to be what I boost, those are the ways you really monetize the posts and the ads and the partnerships that you're working with already.
One important thing we didn't discuss yet, and you mentioned how Instagram or Meta will recommend an ad budget, and I know they also will recommend an audience. Can you talk a bit about that process and what people should keep in mind when selecting an audience?
Yes. Absolutely. I'm going to talk about it from my perspective, and I hope that it helps someone. A big portion for me is I plan for weddings in North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina. I'm also open to going to other places. So my biggest thing is I always want to shoot for an audience base in the states in which I offer my services. That's important because you also want to make sure that they get to see it. I live in North Carolina, and so the me gaining Virginia clients, South Carolina clients is essential. So I put that as a part of my boost. The other thing that I really consider in terms of the audience piece is who am I looking to get their attention? I'm looking to get engaged people. I'm getting looking to get people who are looking for planners. I'm looking to see somebody who is a mother who's looking for a planner, somebody who's who's in that beginning stage of planning. So really dialing down that audience measurement so that you're tapping into who you're searching for.
Yes, and this is what I will do as well with my clients. And this is the difference between if you're able to do it yourself like Deborah does, you're going to need the diligence to track. All right, let's say in this ad, I included people who maybe mother of the bride, mother,
Hmm.
because they are very pushy with like, oh, you've
Yes.
got, they'll send and share the post. So sometimes I
Yes.
like to include them in my demographic,
Hmm.
but I have to track that and see how that did, as opposed to when I just targeted people in a relationship, people recently engaged, people
Yeah.
engaged. And that's what you're learning as you play around doing this yourself in the demographics. When you pick an audience, you'll see you can pick people who've been engaged within 3 months. Maybe
Yep.
for a venue, they like that better because they're the first decision. For a
Hmm.
planner, anytime they're engaged, because sometimes after a year, they're like, I've had it. I
Yes.
need someone.
Yes. Yes.
So it's really tracking those things for you. And if you decide to work with an ad agency, I would ask that they're kind of go over those things with you
Hmm.
and show you the the audiences and why they're doing it, because you want to know that the audience they're picking is relevant to you. This is why it's so important to have these conversations that are related to the wedding industry.
Yeah.
What can happen is if you use someone who's not niche, they're not going to understand this audience, and they're not going to understand how, for example, I'm going to give the venue example again, but let's even say a photo booth company where you don't want to travel. If somebody's doing an ad for you and the radius goes well beyond
Yep.
your local area, then that may not help you. So those are
Yeah.
things you really want to consider when either outsourcing your ads or doing them yourself.
Nina, you said that you gave the tip for the mother-in-law, the
Mhm.
mother of the bride or the mother-in-law. What's another one for planners that's a good one to use whenever we're doing boosts for and looking for an audience?
Oh, I mean, I always like to think that people recently married to or their friends, people in their age group, I think are the audience. It doesn't
Yeah.
just have to be the couple, it has to be their whole entourage.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Two of my 2023 weddings were they were from a wedding party where they met me planning
Mm.
their friend's wedding, and that translated into that relationship being cultivated for their weddings, right? Social media ads can do the exact same thing for you.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love, so that's, if you're looking to get at a specific venue, their audience could be a good target for you because
Mm,
they've been at that venue and they're speaking up about that venue. Their friends have been
yeah,
to that venue. Maybe they want to get married there next. So just something to consider there.
yeah, that's a very good one. Very good one.
Any other ad related tips, gems, words of advice before we tell our audience where they can find you?
I think the most important thing to kind of leave this audience with is try it.
Hmm.
Boost, boost, boost. Do the ad. It's okay if you feel a little uneasy. It's going to happen. But the way that you get good at advertising your business, at getting your business at the fingertips of people, right? Because sometimes you didn't know you wanted to see me on your stories until you're going through and you recognize, wait, I am in the early stages of planning a wedding, or I know I'm going to get engaged within the coming months, right? And you see my face and I'm saying, hi, I'm Deborah from Unveiled by Deborah, and I'm a wedding planner. It brings you to my profile and you can really monetize on those options. So boost as often and as much as you can. I want to leave you with the data from my last post.
Great, great. Yeah, let's see where
I
you
think
are
that that's
now.
important. Where I am now, I think that we started our conversation earlier about my very first one that I did that was just an introduction of myself. And so I'm competitive and I compete with myself. I love it when people are like competing with each other. That's cute for y'all. I compete with myself and my own success because I want to be good for myself and for my future kids at some
I
point.
love it.
So back in January, 6 months after my previous post just introduced me, I went back into the reins and I did another Hi, I'm Deborah post. My reach for this, my reach for this was 5,253 people.
Wow.
Crazy, right? When you think about what I came from my very first post 6 months prior.
Especially when you also think you're booking 20 weddings a year. So reaching 5,000 is really
wild.
Great. I like the law of averages.
Yes, and it really gave me, because I started to understand my my audience. I started to understand that I had to tailor down, that I no longer was just shooting to get however many weddings. I now had a purpose, right? I had a reason for what I was like. I'm only going to do these 20 weddings. So when you connect with me, you know that that's my end goal. I got 50 new followers. There were a total of 12 people that went to my website, and that was not even my intention. My intention was for them to come to my profile. I booked 5 weddings. 3 of those were what ended up closing my books in 2023 in April, and that brought my that closed my books for the year, and then the other 2 were for 2024.
That's like a quarter. And since that's just one ad, so more than a quarter of your books could be from doing ads.
Yep. I ran this ad for 15 days and I spent $100.
Wow. Wow, you are gonna make me boost today because I don't boost. I don't boost.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't boost. But this is, I think, whenever we connected, this is one of the things I really wanted to chat about, because as a new planner, a newer planner, as somebody who's new to this industry, I had to understand how to advertise myself. I had to teach myself that skill because I didn't have a way or a means to get to where I needed to go. And social media has given me that possibility. It's why you see so many influencers becoming a thing, right? They have learned how to monetize social media. And as planners, as venues, as wedding pro, and people in the industry, we also can do the same things. I do not want to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already been created for me. So I'm just going to keep rolling it because it's doing the things that it needs to for me. It's almost like having a 6-man on the team for all those of us who know basketball. Yeah.
I didn't, so I'm glad I know. Glad you said what sport it was.
Yeah. Yes, it's the 6-man award. It's a bit, yes. It's just, well, let me see if I know any wrestling ones that might be important. No, it's like when you're doing, like when you're bouncing off the rope, right? Like you're using what's already there to support yourself, and that's what boosting social media is.
That is fantastic. And actually, I have a resource that's already existing. Deborah, you've done this with me before. I have on my website, and I'll link it in the show notes, a free 5-day social media challenge. And the first prompt is an introduction, but it's very detailed. I say what you should say in an introduction, what the goal is, what kind of imagery you can use. If you're not comfortable maybe with a photo of yourself, or if you're a venue or something where your face is not part of the social media, it's very detailed, that first prompt. And if you go into the Facebook group as well, Deborah and I are both in there, so you can ask us questions or share the post with us. We'll give it a boost with engagement and we'll comment.
Come collaborate with me. I love those things. I think it's how we help each other grow where we are.
Yeah, so I'll have that linked in the show notes, and I'll also link everywhere that our audience can find you, Deborah. You're going to want to find Deborah because she's just so beautiful, and you need to see this beautiful face.
I thank my mother and my father.
Well, I thank them too.
Yeah, I will let them know.
So where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Unveiled by Debra. You can find me on Facebook at Unveiled by Debra Events, Weddings and Events. You can find me on TikTok as
TikTok.
I am Debra. I think it's
I
I'm
gotta
Debra
follow you
Maingi.
on the TikTok.
You do. I that is actually my focal point for the next 6 months is getting better about using my TikTok. And so let me tell you where you can find me. That's how you know I don't use it often enough. You can find me as DK Mangy XO on
Okay.
there. You can also find me on my Knot page, and that is Unveiled by Debra on the Knot.
Have you been using Pinterest at all?
Okay, so Nina, you didn't have to put me on the spot like this, okay?
I
And
well, I have a reason why I'm asking, so don't worry.
I I have not. And every once in a while, I feel a little guilty because
Hmm.
I use Pinterest for everything, right? Like, I'll tell you that I'm in the middle of trying to buy a home, and I'm already
Oh,
like building up like what my guest room is gonna look like and what my master. That's how in depth I am with
yeah.
like we're in a relationship, Pinterest and I. But I do not use it for Unveiled by Debra. And now that you've brought it up, I feel like that's going to be an essential need to do.
Well, okay, so we'll have to do a separate Pinterest thing so I don't make this too long, but I have been experimenting with it this summer,
Okay.
and I have found that my vertical form video content or Canva content reshaped to be vertical, maybe adding in a video to it performs really great on TikTok. So you
Oh,
can just download some of the stuff you've already done and find a place for it on TikTok. So since on Pinterest, but since you mentioned TikTok and everything else, I thought I would put it out there and
that's
maybe
good.
if we both do it, we'll do a follow up.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna put that on my July to-do list is to
Yeah.
get up on my Pinterest game.
Okay, so here's some quick rapid fire questions before we take off. The best weddings have.
An incredible DJ.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, he or she make or break the wedding.
Sure.
And so it is essential to have a DJ that's going to do a couple of things. Keep the event interesting, keep the event hype, and keep you as the couple happy.
Mhm. When I'm in the zone, I'm listening to.
I am I am a saved individual, but I love an elevation worship or I'm
Mhm.
killing it to Eminem. So
Okay.
a little depth in
Yeah,
there.
I love it.
Yeah.
On a Monday morning, I am drinking.
I'm drinking tea. I do
Nice.
not drink coffee because I have natural energy, and me on coffee is scary. But I'm also a freak of nature, and I love Mondays, and so I'm just
Yeah.
having a standard black tea
So you lured me in at Wedding MBA with that promise of coffee, and
because
it
I
was
knew
just
you
sweet.
loved
Yeah,
coffee.
I love it. All right, cocktail hour or dessert bar?
Cocktail hour, please and thank you.
Yeah,
Give your people a reason to mingle because between the ceremony, they're sitting there quietly. Cocktail hour gets them it's based almost like a break in their, so they get to mingle. They get to sit down and be quiet and celebrate you at the beginning of the reception and dinner, and then they can dance at the party.
yeah.
Cocktail hours are essential.
That's where I think you get the better food, at least here in the New York, tri-state market. Like the focus is on the cocktail hour, and that's where you get the best stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's like all in
Oh,
on that.
I need to get a New York tri-state
Yes,
couple
because it's
then.
like the cocktail hours are like Epcot World Showcase, where they have foods of all, cultures and ethnicities. You just
Yes.
walk around, you have your sushi, then you have your tacos, then you have your pizza, your pasta station, you go
Love
around
this.
your shrimp bars.
Absolutely. I saw not another Real Housewives reference, but I just saw Teresa
So that's
Gudici's
such a great
wedding.
like title, not another Real Housewives reference.
But I love them. But I just saw her wedding in New Jersey on the New Jersey Housewives, and I was like, I need a New Jersey wedding.
Yes,
So if
you
you're
do.
listening and you're New Jersey, I travel, call me. ring me, beat me, I
Yeah.
will be there.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
if you're working with Debra in my area, then you know I'm gonna be just showing
You're
up.
absolutely coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a two package deal.
Do you have a favorite ad you have seen?
Oh, I don't.
That's a tough
I
question.
that's a
So it could be
tough
like a
one.
marketing campaign because I thought the McDonald's Grimace birthday thing going on was really cool.
I love that one because I also didn't know who Grimace was. And
Oh no.
I
So it was
I'm
education and
it was
entertainment.
educational and I just felt like that's what your ad should be like. It should cap because I had to go Google it. I'm like, who is this? Right. And why is McDonald's after giving me these bags that are this color? And so I had to go find out.
Well, it's like a win-win. Either you know Grimace and love that he's having a birthday,
Mhm.
or you don't until you're looking him up and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
there's this whole world of nostalgia I didn't know
who would
about.
have thought?
All right, and last question I am most grateful for.
I am most grateful for my mentor, Taylor.
Oh,
Taylor is the founder of NG and Source Co. She is a marketing guru.
yes.
And let me tell you something. In this industry, to be around people who've been around it a long time, but people who keep it real, people who tell you when something's working, when it's not. I shared something with Taylor on Tuesday on our monthly mentorship calls, and she looked me dead in the face and was like, do you know why that's working for that person? Because she has the new girl feel, the new girl syndrome. She is after it, and she's like, that's why it's working for her, and you've kind of slacked off. That's who you need, somebody who's not just going to tell you when things are exceptionally, you're doing all the great things. Somebody who says, hey, you could do this too. You have done this. You know how to do it. This is how you do it. You need a mentor. And so she is invaluable. And I am so proud of her. She just launched her new company, NG. Go find her, go follow her, give her some encouragement. She is the bomb.com. And I have literally just become such a better business owner because of my work with her.
Taylor's a really good person. I think you met her at Wedding MBA as well, or you met the booth at Source Co.
I
'Cause you
went to
were
Source
like,
Co.
"This is your photos are on my website,"
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
her Instagram is ENJI_co because I know when we say NG, you may not be sure.
Yes.
So go there because Taylor's a really, really fantastic person and has a lot of marketing knowledge. So,
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, I can go on and on about her, but one thing I want to say about her is, for those of us who are new in this industry or have been here for a long time, what you're looking for is for somebody who drives your purpose. And sometimes you wake up and you don't really want to do anything. Taylor reinforces that's okay to not do something. Some days you wake up and you're literally running across the street because you're so excited about an idea. Taylor reinforces those ideas too. You want to get around people and surround yourself with people who are not just like-minded, but people who can also push you to where your limits are and past and beyond.
yeah.
And she's that for me.
That's fantastic. So I'll have that linked as well because we love Taylor here.
Yeah.
Really, really fantastic. Well, thank you, Deborah, and hopefully everyone's going to go over and stalk what you're doing so they can
Yes.
emulate your ads and get their calendars booked too.
Yeah, absolutely. Come say hi on my Instagram chat. I'm so happy I got to come and hang out with you, Nina. We're going to do Wedding MBA year 2 together.
Yeah.
And this time we actually will get those drinks
There
instead
we
of that
go.
coffee. Yeah, right.
Guys, all of Deborah's links are going to be in the show notes. You are going to want to see how beautiful she is. Her smile just always puts me in a great mood. All of the links to where you can follow me will be in the show notes as well, including my latest video course, ChatGPT for Wedding Marketing. If you have not explored with ChatGPT yet, guys, you are in for a great treat. Next week, we're going to have episode 100 of the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast. Can you believe it? We have gotten to 100 episodes, and I am so grateful to all of you who have been on this journey with me. I'll see you next week.